Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. Today I have an Aussie summer vibe going on. I have a full face of makeup for you and an eye tutorial for this eye look. Now I've used something on my eyes which I'm just ecstatic about. I've used a Linda Hellberg mood cream which I found last week, and I delivered in a week from the States, which is fantastic. So I bought the yellow, red and an orange which I have on my waterline, and I've actually got it on my lips as well today. So I'm just blown away by the colours of these. They're absolutely wonderful. They're going so well. So if you'd like to see how I achieve this look today, this Aussie summer vibe, then just keep watching. Okay, so I've already done a few of my complexion primers and prep work. So I've gone in and done my eyebrows with the Goof Proof from Benefit in number 1, just to place some shape in there. Then I did go in also with my Bobbi Brown Extra Repair Eye for around my eyes and on my eyelids as well. And then I did use my MAC Timecheck Lotion, which is not a lotion, it's a cream. It's absolutely beautiful. Those two products for underneath makeup work miraculously for me. Also the Tarte Clean Slate for my pores. So I've gone in and pushed that in those areas where I do have pores and some wrinkles on my forehead here and on my chin and the smile lines. And then over the top of that I use my Murad Oil Control Mattifier. So I've just patted that in the T-zone area where I do tend to get a little bit oily. And then around the perimeter I use my MAC Strobe Cream. So I've just patted that in around the perimeter here, where I do want to have a little extra dewiness. Alright, so straight in with my foundation. So today I'm going to use my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation in 5.5 on a Real Techniques buffing brush. So we'll pop that all over. Now I find the Luminous Silk just a little bit more matte than I would like. I do prefer a dewy foundation. Now it's coming up to summer in Australia, so I discovered the Dior Face and Body, which is absolutely perfect for humidity. Nothing moves, no oil comes through. It's just fabulous foundation. But I haven't worn this in a while, so I thought I'd give the Giorgio Armani another go. So 5.5 is good for me and my complexion. Don't forget to bring it out down onto your neck and then up into that ear area here. So you can see that's quite matte on me. I mean, it's not a dewy foundation by any means, on my skin at least. Has good coverage though, that's for sure. So as always, next up is the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector on an E20 from Morphe. I'll skip over this section, you will have seen this 1,000 times on my channel. It's the only product I use now, besides the MAC Prep and Prime, which I'll pop on in a sec, underneath my eyes. So it's not a traditional concealer, it's very light. Then going in as always again with my MAC Prep and Prime in Radiant Rose, just a little bit further down. And just buffing that in with my Zoeva 110 Face Shape Brush, just from the bottom upwards towards my eyes. Pushing the product up. As I've said in a few of my videos before, I like to do my foundation and complexion products first, so that as I do my eyeshadow I can go in and take out any excess product that's actually forming in my wrinkles. I'm just going back in with my foundation brush just over that demarcation line, just to smooth that out a little. So I'm going to do all my complexion products first up. Now I don't want my bronzer and blush and highlight to stick in any spots. I'm going in with my RCMA No Colour Powder on a Too Faced powder brush. This does get all over the place, so I'm just going to go in, just pop some powder where I'm going to pop those powder products today, just to help it not stick. Okay, so I'm going in with my Too Faced Cocoa Contour Palette, which I love. And I'm just going to use the more bronzy colour today for my bronzer, and that is called Dark Cocoa, on my Marc Jacobs bronzer brush, or the bronzer, which is quite large. I'm just going to bronze up the perimeter of my face. I'm just going to switch to a Sigma brush, which is a fair bit smaller for my forehead, because I just don't have the space to use the Marc Jacobs bronzer brush. Just ends up too far down on my forehead here. So just blending up and out. So I'm just going in around the corners of my nose and around my lips with my Pixie Crayon Combo in Wide Awake. So I'm using the matte side in place of a concealer, just to give me a little bit of lightness around my nose and my lips. And then just going in with a very lightly dampened beauty blender just to blend that. So while I have the Too Faced Cocoa Contour Palette out, I'm going in with the cooler colour at the top there, which is called Medium Cocoa, on a Too Faced contour brush. And I'm just going to place a little bit of contour on my nose, in between my Cupid's bow, and just underneath my lips. And just blending that in right up to my brow area. Just switching the brush around to the flat side and just blending that down. So just underneath that Wide Awake product that we just placed. If you like, just use your slightly dampened beauty blender just to blend that in just a little bit more. So for blush today, I am using my Too Faced Perfect Flush Blush in Peach on a Real Techniques blush brush. I'm going to use the side which is just a little bit more apricot than the pink. So I'm going to concentrate my brush in that area. And just go in on the cheeks. So for highlight today, I'm going to use my MAC Soft and Gentle, just a beautiful champagne colour, on a Dose of Colours fan brush. Lovely. So just in a circle around your eye there. So I'm just going to go in with a Sigma F50 and just blend around the edges of that highlight. So a little bit on the tip of my nose, down the sides of my nose. And then I do like a little bit on the bridge of my nose there as well. I'm starting to get some more wrinkles there as well, so that will go shortly too. And just on the top of my lip there. So I did forget to put my Lano lips on. Love this stuff, it just stays on forever. This one's in green apple, I think, so just to give me some moisture while I'm putting the rest of my makeup on. Smells divine. Can't taste it though. Okay, so onto my eyes. I'm using my p.louise eye base in Rumor 02 on a Dose of Colours concealer brush. So just all over my eyelid. Could possibly have used a bit too much, so I'll pop that on that eye. Right down into the inner corner there. Everywhere you feel like you're going to be placing eyeshadow. Now p.louise market this product not to be set by any eyeshadow, but I just find that it's just a bit too lumpy for that. You know, they go in with their brushes and pat it down. It just still to me is just a little bit too lumpy, so I grab my very lightly watered down beauty blender and just go in very, very light-handed and just pat over the product. Okay, so the first shadow up is my Illamasqua eyeshadow in Vapor. So it's a very bright orange, and I'm using a Too Faced all over shadow brush to place that product. So I want to look down, make sure I get this product where I can see it on my hooded eyes. So I'm just going to place it first up. And then go in and deepen that up. So I'm going to take that down to the inner corner there, staying off my lid area. And I'm basically just patting that in. So I want to retain the vibrancy of the colour. I don't want to blend it out too much. Okay, so I've got that shape down on both eyes relatively even. So I'm just going to pop some in the outer corner here. It's basically just the width of my brush. I'm just going in and creating that straight line almost. Okay, so I've got that orange in relatively even on both sides. I'm going into my Natasha Denona Sunset Palette, and I'm going to use the colour, the yellow colour on the bottom there. It's called Soul, on a Dose of Colours blending brush. I'm just going to tap my brush in. I just want to go very, very gently into the area right underneath my brow bone there. So I'm just using some circular motions just to blend out the edge of that orange colour with a very, very light hand. I really don't want to destroy that orange. And then into the outer corner here. I just want to go back in with that Vapor colour and just very lightly blend over that colour again. As you know, when you blend, you do lose a little bit of vibrancy. So I'm just going with a very, very light hand, just popping that colour back in. If you concentrate that colour more to the bottom of the shadow that you've put in, you do retain that blended look at the top. So you're basically just putting more colour back in and keeping that blend at the top. So on the outside edge I'm staying away from there and just coming in just a little bit. If you like, also you can go over with a bigger blending brush. This is the Sigma E40. So I'm just going over both colours on the edge there. Just very, very lightly. Okay, so I'm going to go into a bit of a deeper orange in the Natasha Denona palette, and this is called Horizon. And I'm just going in on a MAC 221 small blending brush. So I've got small eyes. So I just want to place this on the outer corner, on the inner corner, and then just blend that up into the crease lightly across the middle. Make sure if you've got hooded eyes like me that you can see that colour, but you're not going over that previous orange that we placed in. Okay, so I'm ready for the lid colour. It's fairly well blended. I've got the right shape on both eyes. They're fairly even. So I'm going in with my p.louise in 0. Now it's more of a white colour, just because I want the lid to be a bit more vibrant than or as vibrant as could possibly be. So back on my Dose of Colours concealer brush, so I'm just going to place that first up near the lid there. Put my head down, look up, look around, and I can actually see where I need to actually cut that crease there. So I'm not being too pedantic, I'm just making sure that I don't go over that real orange colour, or the deeper orange colour, which was Horizon that we put in. I'm just blending that out a little bit towards the sides. I'm just going to tap the very edge of that just to blend it a little bit more. And then I'm going to go in with my Makeup Forever 240 brush. I'm going to use the colour Mandarin, the top there. So it's a beautiful shimmer colour. So straight over that p.louise. Now to blend that back in, I'm going in with my 221 with Horizon just over the very edge of that mandarin colour. I want to go back into the inner corner. I'm just going to try a little on my finger as well, just for some extra vibrancy there. Okay, so for the bottom lash line, going back in with the deeper orange, which is Horizon, on a Dose of Colours flat definer brush, and just close into the lashes, a little bit thicker to the outer corner there, just going a little bit thinner there. So in with the Vapor on a Real Techniques shading brush. So just connecting these colours basically up to the outside. So I'm just going to blend that deeper orange down, come into the inner corner just a little bit more. And then going back in with my Dose of Colours and the Soul colour, and just blending right across. So after I've blended the bottom lash line, I always want to go back in with that deeper colour. Just seem to always blend it out a little bit too much, so pop that one back in. A little bit more vibrant there. Now I've discovered Linda Hallberg Mood Crayons. Oh my gosh, they're absolutely beautiful. This one's in, I can't remember the colour. I'll write it in the description box for you though. It's called Likeable and it's a bright orange. So I've got a sort of a more of a rustic orange and then a shimmery orange, but this is very matte bright orange, which I love. So I did buy the red one as well as a yellow. You can see how bright that orange is in the waterline there. Okay, so a tiny bit of inner corner highlight. This is called Obeyed, which is a basic sort of champagne shimmer colour. Just on a Sigma E30 pencil brush, and I'm just going to tap it in. Okay, so I'll go ahead and pop some mascara on, do my eyebrows and some lashes, come back and do some lippy. Okay, so I finished up my eyes. I went in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in Blonde with the NARS angled brush. As usual, my Rimmel brow this way on a small angled brush from MAC. I think it's a 266. Just right up underneath my brow there, and just blended that in. I do go around the top of my brows as well with the same product and blend that in. Some MAC Giga Black Lash, and then I used Mecca Cosmetica defining lashes today, just for a try, just to see if they're suitable for my eyes. I feel like they're a little bit too big. So lippy, I'm going to take that Leno Lips off, so I'm just going to blot so that I don't remove anything else that I've popped around the outside of my lips there. So I'm going to try the Mood Crayon. Now they say that you can use these on your lips, eyes, anywhere. So I'm going to do my lip liner with it. So it's the same colour as my eyeline. See how we go with this look. It just glides on. I don't know how long these are going to last because I feel like I'm going to use these forever. Well, that went on easy. Okay, so I want to tone down my lips before I brighten them up, so I'm using my Kate number 40. I'll write in the description bar exactly what it's called. It's a very light apricot colour. And then I just want to go, I've knocked off a little bit of that liner. I just want to go back in. Just filling in the corners as well with this pencil. And then I'm going to use my NYX Butter Gloss in Cherry Cheesecake. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Over the top. If you're going to use a gloss, I always go in with a lighter colour or a base lipstick first because you just can't see the colour. Oops, got a bit too heavy there. I don't mind that. What do you think? Okay, so that's the look for today. A little bit brighter than what I usually do. I do really like that. So the combination of the Natasha Denona palette and the Illamasqua Vapor, I think is really quite nice. And that Mood pencil from Linda Hallberg. I mean, I absolutely adore these. I can't wait to use the red one and the other one as well. So if you like the look today, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, click on the notifications bell so you're notified when I do upload more content. Keep being the best version of you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.